Deathstroke number 15, written by Justin Jordan, art by Edgar Salazar and Amilcar Pina. This is totally new. The entire past arc and a half have been written by Rob Liefeld with, I believe, Joshua Williamson scripting, and this is just a new writer. Now, last issue we had the tie-in to the Hawkman story of Hawkman Wanted, but we weren't done the previous plot, and it kind of feels like we just dropped all of that. So I'm not complaining, but I'll just get into it. So we have a small European country of Sarvania, and we have this guy who's basically forced at gunpoint to pull his own gun on this guy who, I guess, betrayed someone. And he says, "I'm sorry," shoots him in the head. And he's like, "Oh, it's okay, Alexei, it's all right." And then this huge guy steps up and just snaps his neck and saying like, "Oh, these men were brave, they were good, but they were standing up against me. So maybe you'll know better. My name is Koshe." And someone steps up to me like, "You're a monster, you're not even an animal." And he throws a Molotov at this guy. And, like, he welcomes it as well. He's like, "Oh, that's your weapon? All right, come on, bring it on." And the Molotov hits him dead on, and he literally catches on fire. And as he does so, he goes over to the guy who threw the Molotov, and he's like, "You don't understand. The reason I'm coming for this country, the reason I will be the one who runs it from now on is because I am Koshe the Deathless. I cannot die." And so he catches this guy on fire. Immediately the guy dies of burning. And then when the flames go out, Koshe is like, "Anybody else want to give it a shot?" And all of this was being shown on a video file to Deathstroke, who he's basically being wined and dined and convinced to take on this contract. And he's like, "What's going on, guys? You want to tell me what's going on?" And they basically say, this guy, he just took over this small European country because seemingly nothing can kill him. And we figured that if anybody was able to do it, it would be Deathstroke, because that's kind of your thing. And he's like, "Yeah, that is my thing, but why should I care about this guy? Like, what's the big deal?" And they're like, "Well, here's the thing. Sarvania, kind of a crappy country. Nobody really cares about it until we discovered there was a massive amount of lithium underneath their country. And now we kind of want it for capitalist purposes." And he's like, "All right, well, as long as you want to kill me, or as long as you pay me and you don't mind me killing him, because I am going to kill him, even if he is unkillable." So he walks out, and he's already in Sarvania the next day. And as he's making his way through a marketplace, someone sneaks up behind him. He pulls out a knife, about to kill. Turns out that it's his contact, and her name that she is giving is Elena. And she's like, "All right, well, let's get to work." And they're just walking out in broad daylight, and Deathstroke's like, "You sure this is safe to just be walking out in daylight?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Do you understand how many people have tried and failed to kill this guy?" Like, he doesn't care. He genuinely, like, whoever wants to revolt against them, he doesn't care. He will punish you if you fail, but, like, he doesn't mind the planning part. And so they're like, "All right, so why do you want him gone?" And he's like, basically, she's like, "Look, someone else is going to swoop in if he does end up dying, but I'm still going to pick the lesser of two evils." So they make their way to this giant palace that looks like straight out of Moscow. And he's got like an orgy going on. He's drinking in his bed. And as he gets up and walks over to his balcony, his head just explodes. And we see Deathstroke there with a sniper rifle as it starts to reform. And he's like, "Ah, crap. This guy can like really regenerate. Like, it isn't just a little wounds thing, like it's any sort of wound thing." And at that point, Koshe is like, "Oh, you're a professional. Come on down. See what you got, what you can take." And so he makes his way down the palace, and a mob basically just starts attacking him because half of the city thinks of him as a god that has come to like deliver them. But the palace police basically step up saying, "Hey, don't kill the assassin. Koshe wants to talk to him directly." So Deathstroke gets dragged into the palace in front of Koshe. And he's like, "Oh, you genuinely thought you could escape? My people were never going to let that happen." Deathstroke's like, "It was never about an escape. I just figured the easiest way in here would be if your police brought me in." And he immediately breaks out of his handcuffs, shoots all the other guards, and starts a fight against Koshe. And of course, bullets do nothing on him. And so Deathstroke literally throws the gun at him, lodges itself into his chest, and he starts internally like, "This guy might be as strong as I am," which is a little bit of an issue. And as Koshe picks him up, Deathstroke's he's been analyzing him and realizes that this guy's strong, but he doesn't have any training. He's just like a brute. So Deathstroke can beat him with a little bit of strategy. And so during the fight, Koshie like holds him up and it's just like, "Oh, you think that you can kill me? I'm deathless." And he's like, "Yeah, but I doubt that means painless." And he takes a grenade out, shoves it down Koshie's pants, and then kicks him away as the explosion forces Deathstroke out the window. And he's like, "See, here's the thing. During our conversation, Koshie gave something up. He said that he can only die when he wills it. So I know how to kill the unkillable man." And that's where it leaves off. It's not Rob Liefeld. That's a 10. No, I am happy because this does feel like a needed change in pacing. It's just, I don't know. I was so, who cares about like the past 10 issues of Deathstroke? Like all of it was going against the stuff that I loved in that first arc where it was just balls to the wall crazy. And then it was just like, no, Deathstroke, he cares about feelings and such like that. And now I feel like we're finally back to now here's a guy who's just taking a contract because he wants to prove that he is the best, which is that same thing the first arc did. So I at least enjoyed it. I think the art still leaves a little bit to be desired of. It isn't the best. A lot of the people feel a little bit like plain. It just, panels feel empty. I don't know. It's hard to put into words, but it's not the best style, I think, for Deathstroke. But overall, I give this one like easily a 7. I think that and that's entirely by comparison to like the last 10 issues. Standing on its own, it's probably more like a 6 something, but I'm willing to give it a 7 just because I'm so happy for the change of pace that Deathstroke has finally gotten here. So I think the series ends sooner rather than later, but we'll see how long it manages to stick it out.